It was pretty time consuming. I worked 70, 80 hours a week. It was pretty all consuming. It itched me to own a store. It itched me a lot. I would plan it out. I would dream about it. I would draw it out on graph paper. I even went in negotiations to open it. It itched me for probably 5, 6 years. I had a confrontation with a boss. I quit Halloween of 2005. And I remember sitting at my brother-in-law's front driveway with my head in my hands. What did I do? What did I do? Because I wasn't like that. I don't do daring things a lot. And my wife was a little devastated. And I just said, I'm going to do it. And so I quickly incorporated, got my license, opened a commercial bank account. I had a lot of savings and stuff like that. And I used that to open the business. And I was open Jan 1 of 2006.
All right, I got my buddy Patrick here today. He's the owner of Legacy Flooring. He started off as a sales rep, then went to start his own business and took that business from $1 million to now doing $4 million. And he has goals of going to 8 to 16 to $25 million. Welcome, Patrick. Patrick, super excited to have you here today on the podcast. A couple of things I wanted to just start off with, just like tell the audience where you're from, what industry you're in, and the things that you're most excited about from a flooring perspective.
San Diego, California. I'm excited in the flooring industry that there's a lot of opportunity out there, untapped opportunity. That's kind of just, it feels like it's just there for the grabbing a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's great. So Pat, you've been in the flooring industry. How long have you been in the flooring industry for?
30 years.
30 years, been in the flooring industry for 30 years. And what did you guys do for revenue last year?
We did 4.2 million.
Got it. And when you first started, first year in business, what'd you guys do?
Did $1 million.
$1 million, first year in business, huh? You hit it right off the bat. Hit $1 million right first year. So you've grown 4x in the last 30 years. That's great.
Well, I've had my company 18 years. Okay. So in 18 years, we've grown 4x.
Okay. So when you first started off in the industry, you were actually like an installer of some sort?
I come from a sales background. I was a sales representative.
Got it. So you were one of the different, were you selling commercially or were you selling residentially?
Residentially.
Got it. So you're going to different houses and you were talking about like the wood floors, carpet options, tile options, and getting people to say yes.
I was actually an outside sales rep. I was a manufacturing rep and then a distributor rep. So I ended up going to the different stores or businesses that sold flooring. So I was a wholesale rep.
Understood. Okay, so you worked for like the big distributors. So like the flooring industry is, you got your storefronts, which are what you are now, but then you have the big distributors that supply that. So like you got like the Shaws of the world. You have in the Northeast we have NRF. We have all we have the suppliers like that. So you were working for like the Shaws of the world.
I actually worked for Shaw for a time.
Okay.
And then I worked for two big distributors.
Got it. Understood. So what made you decide to get into sales and construction and flooring in the flooring business? Did you always do that, or were you, what were you doing before that?
So when I was in college, I asked how we think our fathers have all the wisdom in the world, right? So I asked my dad, hey, I'm going to college. What should I do for a living while I'm going to college? What happens if I meet a girl and it progresses and we get married? The college takes 4 to 5 years. What do I do? And so he just quickly said, Sears and Roebuck, go work at Sears and Roebuck. And I was like, all right. So I went and got a job at Sears and Roebuck. I worked 6 months in, believe it or not, the vacuum cleaner department and the sewing machine department. And then the ladies, my coworkers, kind of got mad at me that I would outsell them in vacuums and sewing machines. It's a pretty funny story. They would yell and chew me out, but I had a lot of energy and it was fun. It was easy. It was very easy. And then I became buddies with the person in the carpet department, the flooring department at Sears. Sears used to be like one of the number one sellers of flooring in the nation. And so his name was Gary Larson, and we became friends. And I ended up moving over into the flooring department with him, and I worked there with him for the entire time I was in college. So the backstory to that is a couple years ago, I actually asked my dad, it's been 30 30 plus years, I'm still in flooring. What was that infinite wisdom? Why'd you say Sears? And he said, oh, I used to go buy my Craftsman tools from this kid, and he had a red Trans Am.
So it was random.
And I was like, really? Really? That was your whole infinite wisdom thing, is just because the kid had a nice car, you thought I should go work at Sears? You're like, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, oh, great. Thanks. Thanks, bud. Thanks. Thanks so much. Why couldn't you said pharmaceuticals or a lawyer or a doctor or something like that? But it's cool. It's kind of a cool little story.
Awesome. So you built your whole career on that. That's really funny. But like, so you had so your dad told you to go work at Sears. You worked your way throughout Sears, and you ended up at the flooring department there. Did you go from there, like for Sears, to like starting your own business, or did you go to another distributor and then start your own business? Like, what was the?
Yeah, I went into being a distributor rep or a wholesale rep from Sears. I got hired out of Sears when I was getting close to being done with college. You know, they wanted it. A couple of guys wanted to talk to me, and I went and became a sales rep. And then in the end of 2005, I stopped being a distributor rep, and I opened my own store. I had it open for business January of 2006.
So most people don't just say like, "Hey, I'm going to start a business." Like, what was the big like, breaking point that you were like, "Hey, I'm gonna start my business. I'm gonna leave being a distributor and go out and go on my own and open my own storefront." Like, what was that? How did that decision come to be?
So first off, when I was a distributor rep and a wholesale rep, I would call on wonderful people, that had wonderful businesses. And a lot of times they employed their families and extended families, and they were really wonderful people. And I looked up to them. I looked at some of the homes they had and some of the lifestyles that they had. And I saw that it had a true legacy. They could create a legacy for their family. And being a rep, what would happen is you'd build something and then the bosses would take it away, and then you'd build it and they'd take it away. They always kept you hungry. And I understood that was part of the game. And then I just got tired of I made a lot of money as a rep. They let me make a lot of money, and they took off the normal controls about how much you could sell. And I was making really good money, but they just kept asking more and more of me. More and more of my life, more and more of my time. It's kind of when emails were coming to be. I'm old, Oliver. And, I would have 50 to 100 emails, and they weren't junk emails. They were all addressed to me. And you had the VPN in at night and get all your emails and answer them all. And then, you couldn't do it on the road at all. And so it was pretty time consuming. I worked 70, 80 hours a week. I basically took a dinner break, and I would coach my kids and go to their games and stuff like that, but it was pretty all consuming. And it itched me to own a store. It itched me a lot. I would plan it out. I would dream about it. I would draw it out on graph paper. I even went in negotiations to open a location, a lease, and all that stuff. It itched me for probably 5-6 years. And then finally, I had a confrontation with a boss. They had hired a guru to come tell them how much more they could get out of their sales reps. And I was giving them a lot of business at that time. I was working my tail off, and it just struck me wrong. And so we kind of had a little bit of a falling out, and I quit. And I quit Halloween of 2005. And I remember sitting at my brother-in-law's front driveway with my head in my hands. What did I do? Because I wasn't like that. My wife, I don't do daring things a lot. And my wife was a little devastated. And I just said, I'm going to do it. And so I quickly incorporated, got my license, opened a commercial bank account. My boss was my friend. And so, or he'd become my friend. So they gave me a pretty good severance package. I had a lot of savings and stuff like that. And I used that to open the business. And I was open Jan 1 of 2006, open for business. with some cost with a Costco table, with one of those big long $30 Costco tables. I didn't have chairs. I had camp chairs. You know, camp that you go to the beach. That's all I had. I even remember they were blue. There was 2 blue ones. Yeah. And that's it. That's all I had. I had a computer. Yeah. And I leased a space, and it was pretty bad. It was an airport support building, and it was ghetto, and it had no air conditioning, had no heater. When I was there late at night, I thought there were ghosts cruising around and creaking the metal of the roof and stuff. When it rained, it basically rained more inside the building than outside the building. No one would believe me that I actually did it because I had such a good job. I was making such good money and none of the reps someone wouldn't sell to me because, oh, you're not really serious. You're sitting here in your camp chair. You know, you're really going to do this. And it was, all it did was make me stronger. You know, I remember those times. I remember, you know, I'd work till, 10, 11 at night getting stuff done. And it made me stronger. It just built me. So.
Yeah. They always say what gets in front of a great life is a good life. So you went for that great life. So that's awesome. Love hearing that. So like you had the store, right? Were like customers coming into the store, or were you like taking phone calls and like going and meeting people at their house? Like how did that store work out for you?
I leased a building that had never been used for a retail store, and it was right on a big 78 freeway, and it had incredible visibility. I had the advantage of cruising around as a sales rep and hunting and looking for good locations, right? It's all about visibility with a retail showroom. And so I had a budget established of what I could spend on advertising, not a lot, but and then I had a great location. I had a great sign. I even got one of those little dudes that dance and stuff, and I put it on the roof, and I had a lot of walk-in traffic. I had built up referrals already from people that knew me in the flooring industry. So it was basically just hit the ground running. So
you're saying, so the business, so the storefront, the place that you operated out of, you're saying that it wasn't really meant for like retail. However, you were able to make it work for retail, and basically, how did you get the traffic? Was it like off of like a main like highway, and like you just had like your name there, and then people saw that, and then they looked you up and then came to your location? Like how did they know you were there?
Yeah, so in San Marcos, California, there's a street that has all the furniture. They call it Furniture Row. So there's Furniture Row, and there's always been a lot of flooring stores on that street. And I opened up directly across the freeway. The problem with across the freeway, it was all commercial, rundown. It wasn't built up at all. And so I literally went in the 78 freeway used to be a runway for an airport. A long time ago, and I literally opened up in an airport support building. It was used to house airplane parts, and it was kind of pieced together, hodgepodge, but you could see it really, really, really well from the freeway because it was the only thing over there. There was like contractor yards, and there was a fence place, but there was no retail on the south side of the freeway. And so it's just the ability to cruise around and see, where was a cool location, stuff like that.
Understood. Great. So you have the business. You open the doors. People are starting to figure you out and find you. Like the first year, you said you did $1 million, but like, was there any bumps and bruises during that first year? What was your top takeaway during that first year?
I was calling on individuals. I thought that maybe I could do it better. I noticed some small things. They'd get angry all the time and stuff like that. And I think that's the biggest takeaway. My first year it was really hard. What they were doing was really hard. And I was kind of humbled because I realized that they did their best. They really tried hard. And it was just owning your own business and providing a service. It's a big, long process. And it was actually a lot more difficult than I thought.
Yeah, no, that's definitely 100% true. I mean, there's a lot of late nights. There's a lot of things that you don't even think, you're not in your awareness pattern that you have to do. And now it's, you can't say it's somebody else's fault or someone else's reason. Everything falls on you when you're first starting out. You got to be good at a bunch of different things, right? You know, you got to get, you know, bids out the door. You got to be able to execute the bids. And yeah, so it's definitely a process. So where are you guys, so that's when you first started the business. You said now you're doing $4 million. What did the growth look like in between that 1 million, that first year? You said you did 1 million your first year?
Yeah. So 2006, I did 1 million. 2007, I did 1.2. And then 2008 was the financial meltdown and the housing market meltdown. So that hit me pretty good. It took till 2010 to hit me because I got into doing work in retirement homes. And so I had a false sense of security because I was working. I had some work. But once that finished up in 2010, I was 30% off overnight. And so went to under a million and yo-yoed off that for a couple years. It was difficult. I barely made it. You know, I lost hair, I gained weight. I lost well, at least that's the excuse, right? I lost a home, you know, because of the downturn here in California, you know, but we survived and I made it through. So it turned around really for us in 2012, it started to turn around.
And what did that turnaround look like to you?
It was slow at first. I got above a million again. I got to 1.2, then 1.3, then 1.4, I think in 2014. And then in 2015, I joined a co-op. I joined a co-op called CCA, and I bought into a co-op called Flooring America. And part of that co-op is they kind of funnel you insurance leads, not retail leads, insurance leads. So in 2015, it grew a little bit from that. And then at the end of 2015, I hired my first insurance salesperson, and she's still with me today. And that act alone kind of doubled my business. It took me to over 2 million the next year in like 2016. And there wasn't a lot of extra overhead in doubling the business. There was only, you know, paying her and the insurance fees and stuff like that. And that enabled me to hire more people.
Great.
Continue to grow from there. It's doubled since then.
Got it. So you're saying, the first million was you figuring out how to do it. The second million was, you know, bringing on a new team member and getting into like a different market that focused on the insurance leads. Where did the other 2 million come from? Was it just expansion of those existing markets that you were already in, or did you go into a different market?
Same market, North San Diego County. It was basically just hiring salespeople. I had 1 to 2 salespeople in addition to myself and an insurance salesperson. So that's how it continued to grow. And then a couple of years ago, I started running into more problems. I guess you call that breakpoint 1. When it was over 3 million and going to 4, all of a sudden the wheels came off. The wheels came way off because you couldn't handle it. I didn't have all the right processes in place at all. You know, we just did it how we did it. We just got up in the morning and went and took care of it, did quotes, ordered everything, scheduled everything. But when you get to that size, the wheels just came off. All kinds of problems were happening.
Well, can you give me some examples? When you say the wheels came off, I can picture them in my head, the examples, but I want to hear some examples.
You didn't order that, and we're installing it today?
Yeah, those are some fires. You got a customer that's moved all the furniture in their house so that you can come in there and install everything. You got a builder that's waiting for you to come and install the stuff so that he can get his new buyer into the house. And then boom, it's not here. It hasn't even been ordered. Yeah, I know all about that.
And every step of that, things just fell apart. You know, it was hard to keep track of how much money you had. It was hard to, again, keep track of the installers. There wasn't enough time in the day. And everybody kind of was a jack of all trades. That's the other issue. I didn't have separate people doing this, separate people organizing the installers. Everybody was kind of doing a little bit of everything. And it wasn't systems, it was humans and good people. But we just make mistakes. and everybody just kind of did it their own way, and we didn't do a good job communicating with each other. And it was gnarly, Oliver. It was a headache. It was worse than during the downturn.
So what got you through that time? Like, what did you put in place so that you could make it out of that time and now, get your business to where it's at today?
One of the main things was I hired a key person. I hired my best installer, my number one installer that's been with me 17 years at that time, or 16 years at that time. I hired him to be my operations manager. And he took that burden away from me. He's an incredible person. His name is Omar. And we have 8 crews, and he runs it. Basically the salespeople and everybody else just turns in the sale, maybe orders it, but he has the capacity. He took that over. I hired a high performer person. He actually runs ultra marathons in his sidekick. He'll win them too. That's the crazy thing. He's his personality is he wants to improve all the time. And so that is the main change that allowed us to get a little above 3 million. That allowed us to get to where we are today. But to get farther, we need good people, but we need systems. We need everybody follow a set of rules to get there. We have goals and outcomes we want to achieve, and it has to be with good people and systems in place. No secret sauce.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So what are some of your goals? What are some of your targets that you have in place?
So we want to double in 3 years.
Got it. So you're $4 million now. You want to be $8 million company here in 3 years.
Yes.
And what are the top 3 things that you're going to put in place to be that company?
We've installed standard operating procedures in everything. We're even getting down to we're doing when someone calls the shop, we're going to have a set pattern, a script that people follow. The other thing I did is I took myself out of the sales process, and I literally just measure now. I measure and run the company, but that's allowed the salespeople to just focus on selling. They don't have the burden of going out, driving 45 minutes and measuring something and coming back. They can devote their 40 hours a week to just working with customers. And we also changed, we're putting process in place. We're trying to get the customer to come back in and close the deal in the shop. So there's 2 things, standing operating procedures, someone measuring full time. I think I got that from you, Oliver, actually. You confirmed that a little bit and helped me make that decision. And then the third thing is we have advertising. I've increased the budget, but it's more directed. I'm following up on it every 2 weeks. It's more of a full package advertising. So we're doing a lot of things, to be honest, but we kind of have this path forward that I can see, and it'll get us there.
Love it. So you said standard operating procedures. You said measuring, so you're doing all the measuring. So basically you're telling your sales team to just focus on the customers, and I'll go and measure the house, go measure the restaurant, measure all the opportunities. And then you also said advertising. Now, when you say measuring, are you eventually planning on bringing someone in full time to just do the measuring so that it removes you from that as well?
So I'm going to do it for a year, and I'm writing down what I do. I'll make a standing operating procedure on what I want a measure person to do, and then I'll hire it. Absolutely.
Got it. Why are you saying a year?
It could happen sooner. Okay. Could happen sooner.
So you're open to it.
I'm open to anything, to be honest.
Yes. And then when you said advertising, what are you doing for advertising?
So we used to spend, it was embarrassing. Like in 2023, we spent 1% on advertising. And I didn't spend a lot of time on it. So this year we're spending 3% on advertising. So we're going to spend about $144,000 on advertising, and mostly pay-per-click, PPC, but I'm also investing in advanced SEO. We're going to do retargeting. We're going to do Facebook. We're going to do Instagram. We're going to do maybe a YouTube channel. We might use the YouTube channel for something else to kind of explain our our standing operating procedures to customers, because one of the biggest problems we have with, and you would have it too, is that they get sick of the process. They hate the process. They don't hate the finished result. They don't hate you. When we're destroying their floor and putting it back together, they don't understand that process. So we're going to make some videos explaining the process better, and that's part of them coming back into the showroom to close the deals. We'll show them that video or the videos to get them a better understanding of what the process is, and just a full package advertising. We'll end up going back on Yelp a little bit more heavily than we have been. So just a long time ago, I learned that you're supposed to touch the customer 5 to 7 ways. And then digital marketing came to be, and no one really taught that. And now I'm back to that, touch the customer in 5 to 7 different ways, all digitally. We're starting a referral program. We'll probably email marketing back to them, like through MailChimp or something like that, to keep in contact with our existing customers. It's a lot. The advantage, though, Oliver, is that I'll be measuring. I don't have any floor time. I don't have to be in the shop at any time, and so I'll be working the rest on implementing, all this advertising stuff and working with them and getting it all kind of dialed in. And then I'll hire someone to do that also.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So, like you said a bunch of things in the advertising. Are you doing, so right now you're currently doing the PPC, the pay-per-click, which is like Google Ads, right?
Yeah.
So you're currently doing that. And all the other things are things that you want to implement throughout this year, next year, and then the year after.
I've actually hired a company to do it for me.
Okay.
So I interviewed 5 different companies at the end of last year. I spent 2 months on it. I laid it all out. I almost went with HubSpot and one of their ad agency partners. I studied a company called Mobile Marketing. I studied what my CCA, what my co-op does. I studied what CV, Cardone Ventures does. And then I ended up going with a company called Broadloom, and that they offer full package, running my PPC ad campaigns, running a higher degree of SEO, and they can run the Facebook, the Instagram ads, the YouTube ads, the retargeting, all the different things. They'll run that for me.
Understood. Great. So this thought process that you're talking about, did you always have this thought process of, bringing on new team members, allowing them to actually, run once they've come in and they understand what you're looking for and your expectations, you let them actually run and take over those positions? Or has it always been that way, or is this something new, or is this something that you're working toward?
Absolutely not. So thinking how I think now, I did not think before at all. And because I would just jump in and take care of it, and get it done. And that was my mentality. I really had to try to control and back off and let people succeed, or fail. And it's actually been pretty hard. I'm not perfect at it. I'm terrible at it. I want to jump in and help and get it done. I love to empty my own trash can. That's how bad it is. And so, it's just, that's the only way we're going to grow. And it's the cool thing, Oliver, it's not about me anymore. I've made the income that I want to make, that I dreamed of making. I live in a nicer home than I actually dreamed of owning. Now it's about, the people that work for me. How can I help them get the life of their dreams, the home of their dreams? And that's actually, it's more exciting, and it gives me more energy than getting it for myself. And so, I've helped them. We're constantly working on goals with them. Like, what do you want? And then we're trying to align what they want with what the company can provide, so that they get to go for it. If they want to make $250,000 a year, whatever it is, we will align the company to get them to make it, to get there for them.
Love it. And honestly, I relate a lot with what you're saying there. It's like, like in the beginning, it was like I was doing everything. I mean, finance the team. I was getting the projects, estimating the projects, helping with the execution of the projects. And it wasn't until I pulled myself out from all those things and started really bringing on a team to help execute on those things that we really started to go to the next level. So I can totally relate to that. And then I can also totally relate to getting that success and then having that success and then looking to your left and then looking to your right, and there really isn't many people around. And it's like, man, I really want to develop my team. I want to develop a team. I want to win together as a team. And you're right. It like really reinvigorated me personally, like to go after something big. And honestly, it wakes me up in the morning. It keeps me going. It's like, man, I'm not only letting down myself, but I'm letting down Scotty. I'm letting down Victoria. I'm letting down Brian. Like all the people that are on my team. So yeah, I totally agree with having that team and having that, it almost like reinvigorates you. I love that thought process. So you told me your targets. Now, one question I have for you is, why are you saying 8 million? Why aren't you saying 20 million?
You didn't ask me that. My 3-year goal is 8 million.
Okay.
My 5 to 10 year goal is we want to get to 16 in 5 to 6 years, and then my 10-year goal is to be at 25 million, which would put us, in the top 100 in the nation.
As a flooring
yeah, it's not a lot. 25 million gets you top 100, but some of the other goals is the co-op. We're already top 20% in the co-op, but they know that I want to be top 10% in the co-op. And the benefit of being top 10% is you get to meet 4 times a year. You get to meet with the other people that are top 10%. And that's important to me. I want to exchange ideas and best practices and get to know them. It's kind of who you hang out with, and I want that. And also you get a higher rebate amount if you're top 10%. And you don't get to run the co-op, but you get to have a lot more input than I have now. And everything is for that growth. Everything is for the growth. And again, it's for the people that work with me. I have 2 of my sons that work with me, and it's for them, and that growth. And we do want to be 25 million by the time I retire in 10 to 12 years.
Love it. So, I'm curious about the co-op. We haven't really explored it, but if you don't mind, what are the top 3 things that you enjoy about the co-op? What are the top 3 things that you don't like about the co-op? Can you kind of just let me know what even is a co-op?
So McDonald's is a good example. McDonald's is a franchise. You pay McDonald's, it used to be $1 million, and then they have processes and they have a whole team that comes in and sets up the restaurant, and you don't do anything, right? I have a neighbor across the street that owns 3 McDonald's. He's at his house all day, and he owns 3 McDonald's, and he's a multi-gazillionaire. McDonald's is an example of they're supposed to put processes in place so where you just push the button, you just run it. Basically at a very high level, you don't touch it. A co-op's a little less than that. A good example of a co-op is an Ace Hardware, and they struggle a little bit, unlike a McDonald's or another type of franchise. But a co-op it provides services for you that you can go get on your own, like an advertising help, like private label products, like rebates on your products, like pricing on your products, like they can do training of your salespeople. They offer the co-op I belong to offers everything. The CCA is the largest co-op in our industry. They have over 3,000 members. They have Carpet One, ProSource, and Flooring America, and International Design Guild. They're the biggest. I think they're the best. Those are the positive things. They offer a full spectrum. They also, in CCA's case, they offer insurance work where they have relationships with the different insurance companies, and they can get you leads. That's diminished over the years, not for us, but most of the places in the country it has. We've actually decided to go get the business on the insurance side. It's like once we're available, once we can do it, once we have all the right relationships and certifications, there's nothing stopping us from going and getting it. So we've been very fortunate but we do have to go get it. We can't wait for it. We can't wait for the leads. We have to go get our own leads. But Those are the positive things of the co-op. The negative things of the co-op.
And I don't want to get you in trouble here, but yeah, just give me one. Just give me one that you don't like.
There is no negative part of the co-op.
All right.
The negative part of the co-op is actually a positive. I've come to realize that I don't have to use everything they offer. Yeah. That I can pick and choose the things that they offer, and some things are going to be perfectly adequate for me, and other things aren't. I had the wrong impression that I had to use everything they offer, otherwise I wasn't participating fully, and it's not true. I use what I feel benefits my company, but there's quite a few things that I go elsewhere. Not really because I've outgrown it. It's because they have to offer everything, and they're good at some things, but some things they aren't in my market. Like, I'm in a big market. In a small market, what they offer might be good enough, And so that's the positive part about it. There is no negative. They're wonderful people. They have wonderful programs. It's just, I'm going to do my own thing to a certain extent.
No, I can totally relate to that. It's like you have someone that has all these options. Like, I'm going to take that one thing and I'm going to whittle that thing down, and I'm going to make that thing a sharp axe, so that when I'm hitting that tree, it's like cuts right through it, instead of being trying to understand all of the different things and not being great at anything. So
yes, they're kind of a jack of all trades, and I think they're good at private label. Some other things, they're good at the rebates and stuff like that, but they're not good at other things that I need them to be a little better at. And that's fine. I just got to get someone else to do it for me.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So we talked about your goals. We talked about, how you're going to get there. We talked about where you started. You talked about your sons in the business. Like, how is it working with your sons? I have 2 kids, and I always dream of potentially working with my kids. Who knows if they want to be in construction or not? But how is it working with your family?
So when I wake up in the day, and they're adult kids, right? One of them's 31 and the other one's 27, and I go to work, and I win, right? I've already won, because statistically, before your kids are 18 years old, you've spent 80% of the time you will ever spend with them before they're 18. And I get to spend the days with them, working with them. And yeah, there's hard parts. They have a hard time with dad sometimes. And sometimes I have a hard time with them, whether it's their effort or making mistakes or whatever it is. But ultimately I win, and I enjoy it. I love them, and I want the best for them. And that's why it's called legacy flooring. I wanted to call it wholesale flooring, and my wife said that is a stupid name. And, this is stupid. If you're going to do this, the only reason you're doing this is to create a legacy for our family. And then that's how it stuck. And that's what it is. People know I have a picture to deal with. That's the style we are.
Man, I love that. Legacy flooring. That's great. We're going to end that on that one. We're going to end right there.
All right.
Legacy flooring.